So you can start the recording when you want to.
I
Okay.
started. Okay, so welcome to Eat, Sleep, Bring Cricket. और आज हम मिल रहे हैं मिस्टर भास्कर को, जो हमेशा बिजी रहते हैं, लेकिन आज बिजी नहीं है। उन्होंने अपना टाइम दिया है और हम लेट इसलिए ये रिकॉर्डिंग कर रहे हैं क्योंकि हम द मोस्ट थ्रिलिंग मैच ऑफ दिस वर्ल्ड कप अभी अभी विटनेस किया है। पाकिस्तान वर्सेस साउथ अफ्रीका वेंट डाउन टू द वायर। भास्कर सर, वेरी क्विकली बोलिए, क्या सोचते हैं इस मैच के बारे में?
Brilliant. I think this is what ODI cricket needs. Okay. Some things for the bowlers. See, it was not a 350 pitch. Pakistan probably could have got another 20, 10, 15 runs if they had like batted 50 overs. But it had something for the bowlers and something for the pace bowlers, something for the spinners. We saw Tabrez Shamsi bowling well. We saw Mohammad Wasim Jr. bowling well. So I think it's a very good sign. But for that, I think still South Africa could have won it comfortably if they had played a bit more sensibly. There was no need for Aiden Markham to go for that kind of a shot. He should have just played it out and then they would have easily won it. But they made it difficult for themselves. Of course, later on, Haris Rao's cotton bowl, I think that was probably the moment where Pakistan really was in with a chance. Once they were 9 down, I think from then on, it was Pakistan's game. But of course, the luck was on South Africa's side with that LBW decision. But we saw that Pakistan also got the rub of the green, and they got 1 wicket. Both were umpires' calls. So that's where I have an issue with DRS, where it becomes umpire's call. I think that it should be like either out or not out. Anyway, that's for another day. I think it was a great game. This is what ODI cricket wants. Of course, you can't expect these kind of games to happen every now and then in ODI cricket. T20s, you'll see these kind of games happening because the smaller the number of overs, it's a greater chance of the game going down to the wire. Because that's why we don't see that many close test matches. Close test matches are even more rare. So the more you see, the more the number of overs, the better team usually easily wins more comfortably. So, but it was a good game. I hope, hopefully, I think we'll see a few more good games. With India sitting pretty, I think this is what we want to see in the World Cup. So because India doesn't depend on any other team right now.
नहीं
Or
नहीं नहीं,
any
वो
other,
अलग टॉपिक है सर। आएंगे 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 आप, मतलब
okay, so
डोंट
no,
जंप द
and
गन।
that's why I'm saying no. That's no, what I mean to say is these kind of games, this game, why we enjoyed it more because it was like because we just India was not even concerned about what the result is going to be, and everybody could enjoy the game. We were not dependent on one team or the other. So I think it was a great game. Chennai got as always a lot of great games happen in the Chepauk, and I think this is one of them. Test matches, we have seen a lot of great test matches. ODI games, I think this was one of late. I think this is one of the closest ODI games I have witnessed. Rajiv.
राइट राइट सर। नहीं, मैं तो एक ही चीज कहूंगा पाकिस्तान के लिए कि दे केम विद अ डिफरेंट इंटेंट टुडे। तीन चीजें। बैटिंग उन्होंने थोड़ा सा, दे बॉट सम पॉजिटिव इंटेंट। आई एम नॉट सेइंग दे चेंज द टेम्पो ऑफ हाउ दे प्ले, बट एक पॉजिटिव इंटेंट के साथ खेला। एंड वन ऑफ द स्टैट इज उनके सभी बैटर्स ने आज एक एक छक्का मारा। जो टॉप 6 बैटर्स हैं, सबने एक छक्का मारा। इट जस्ट शोज कि थोड़ा सा ना वो इंटेंट है उनमें मारने का, ये वो करके। But then the problem was that one of them, the moment you get 5 or 6 wickets, one of them has to stay कि मैं तो last 50 तक खेलूंगा करके। और वो नहीं हुआ, and then they gave away the wickets, and they 20 balls or something they did not play. If you play 20 balls with even 2 wickets in hand or whatever, they would have still got 10 or 15 runs, and that could have made a huge difference to the outcome of this match. Having said that, I think even if they made 300 and South Africa would have played with some caution and with some degree of how, because Markram and Miller were going very well at that moment. And, the ball was having some kind of reverse swing. There was no dew at that point of time. Cutters थे, फिर भी मतलब रन रेट रिक्वायर्ड 4 ही था, लेकिन पता नहीं फॉर सम रीजन आई फेल्ट कि इन लोगों को जल्दी मारने का बड़ा शौक था कि अब मैं मारूंगा, अब ये करूंगा, एंड दैट डजंट हेल्प। एंड मार्को यानसन हैड नो, मतलब आके सीधा कैच दे दिया। एंड all these guys in the last 10 overs, there was some real incredible pressure being put up by Pakistan. they will feel aggrieved for, match हार गए करके. But I mean, let's all say कि मतलब South Africa were more deserving to win this match, because for the simple way that they planned it far better. And what happens for South Africa is generally they are the choker for, this is the choke game, what they always do, right? और इससे बाहर निकल गए वो. So they would be very happy that the loss happened to Netherlands, and where they had to choke, they actually did not choke finally. क्योंकि end result ही matter करता है. 2 point मिल गया उनको, 12 point, sorry 10 point पे आ गए. अब तो वो शायद इंडिया से ऊपर भी रहेंगे, because their net run rate कोई match नहीं करने वाला. So even if they win another couple of matches, 2-3 तो उनके लिए पक्का हो गया, मतलब साउथ अफ्रीका के लिए. And this is a very very good result for them. So India also, I would believe, more. So we'll come to that part. I mean, that is what I wanted to discuss specifically with you. But good result for South Africa, disappointing result for Pakistan. Now I'll come to what is the how we should be seeing this entire thing. Is that there is 10 or we would have 10-15 matches to go. I'm sorry. Okay. 10 or 15 matches which we have, which is supposed to go now, and all of them have played 5 matches per se. सबने खेल लिया है यहाँ पे. आज तो छठा मैच भी हो गया है. So at this mid level, it looks like India, South Africa, New Zealand, they are top perched. South Africa getting that win today, तो बहुत ही आराम से बैठे हैं. And then Australia suddenly out of nowhere is getting into in that pack of 4. And then what happens is that New Zealand, Pakistan, which was down today, Sri Lanka, which that huge win against England, and even Afghanistan, these 3 have a chance if they get to 10. But with today's result, what happens is, it clearly indicates that 10 may still, for that Australia has to lose very badly, or New Zealand has to lose very badly, कि 10 points पे आप जा सकते हो करके, which means net run rate आएगा. और मुझे नहीं लगता net run rate पे पाकिस्तान जा पाएगा, ना ही शायद श्रीलंका जा पाएगा, शायद या अफगानिस्तान. मतलब इन लोगों के टीम्स के काफी, there's a lot of this thing, but we have to see how it goes. So एक तरीके से देखा जाए तो, if I have to do a review of all these things, of this middle puddle of Pakistan, Afghanistan and Sri Lanka, do you think they have any chances? Because India, South Africa, New Zealand, Australia look to be there. We'll come to that part. And then the end 3 will come on that also. But these 3 look to be in the middle part. तो आप क्या सोचते हैं?
See, Afghanistan have already won, I think, 2 big games, but they lost to Bangladesh. So I don't think Afghanistan, of course, they've done what they can. I don't see Afghanistan getting up to 10 points. Them creating a flutter, spoiling the party for somebody else is what, that itself would be a good result for them at this point in time. Maybe come the next World Cup, they can really think of a place in the semi-finals, but not yet. Sri Lanka, with the arrival of Angelo Matthews, I think they still have a good chance, because I in the subcontinent, they are a force to reckon with, and the kind of cricket they play, they are not the ones. They are the one team who hardly choke. If you see, they are the ones, I would say, have achieved much more than anyone would have thought Sri Lanka could achieve. They are probably the last among all the top teams. They are the last team to have got Test status. And they won within 14 years of getting the Test status. They won the ODI World Cup, and after that they won a T20 T20 World Cup. It was called a World T20. Then they won a Champions Trophy. They've reached 2 more World Cup finals. They've reached T20 World Cup finals. So I think, which they lost. So I think they have achieved much more than they would have imagined. Reaching the finals of that World Cup in West Indies was probably a great achievement for Sri Lanka. You see, India and Pakistan got knocked out in the first round itself, and they didn't even reach the Super 8s. But playing such big, being in the Super 8s, playing such high-profile teams and reaching the finals was a great achievement. I think that's where I feel Sri Lanka still have a chance with the arrival of Angelo Matthews. So let's wait and watch. It's it's highly unlikely that any of the top 4 would let it go. Australia on a roll is probably the most dangerous cricketing nation ever. So I don't think, at best, probably there could be a few changes in the positions, But for that, I don't see any other change in the lineup. The only team that could have probably pushed Australia or New Zealand was Pakistan, and I think they are are struggling now. They have played one extra game, and they're still at 4 points. So, if you see, Australia and Sri Lanka have played just 5 games each. So, I
नहीं,
don't
इस
see
पे
really
आते हैं, इस पे आते
Pakistan
हैं,
making
इसको
it.
क्लोज करते हैं, इसको क्लोज करते
Yeah,
हैं। ये रहा
yeah.
श्रीलंका का कार्ड। अब आप
Mm-hmm.
कह रहे हैं कि ये 10 पॉइंट तक पहुंच सकते हैं, तो इनके नेक्स्ट फिक्चर्स हैं 30 अक्टूबर को अफगानिस्तान के साथ,
Mm-hmm.
जो 2-4 दिन में है, और
Mm-hmm.
2 नवंबर को इंडिया। सो अफगानिस्तान श्रीलंका कैन विन, and the
Mm-hmm.
match is in Pune, which is having that spin and all, so
Mm-hmm.
the track suits them. The track will suit Afghanistan also, so let's remember that.
Mm-hmm.
And then Bangladesh, I think Sri Lanka should win that very comfortably. And then they have this match against New Zealand, which I'm imagining that with India they will lose the match. But with New Zealand, they have a very, I mean, it's the last match of the tournament, right? For them.
Mm-hmm.
And I would believe that it is for New Zealand also, it's the last match. So what happens is this, इनको ना बड़ा, ये अगर वो मैच निकाल लेते हैं, बैंगलोर pitch was where they won against England also, something which suited them. So this is a very good situation for Sri Lanka, but they have to really play well. I mean, because see, I understand England को हराना, it's a big thing for them, but England is in disarray, which will come to that. But I'm just saying कि fixtures में ऐसा इंडिया के अलावा कहीं नहीं फंस रहे, तो 10 पॉइंट्स इनके लिए पॉसिबल है, बट थोड़ा डाउट ही है, मुझे लगता है डाउट है यहाँ पे। अगेन दे इट ऑल डिपेंड्स हाउ दे परफॉर्म अगेंस्ट अफगानिस्तान, सो लेट्स सी। सो आई एम इन एग्रीमेंट, मतलब आप जो कह रहे हैं सही कह रहे हैं कि मतलब पाकिस्तान तो नहीं पहुंचेगा, क्योंकि उनका नेट रन रेट ही बहुत ही, मतलब इट्स इन वेरी वेरी बैड शेप। आई एम जस्ट ट्राइंग एंड पुलिंग दैट फॉर यू, ताकि तक अपडेट हो गया होगा। बट व्हाट आई एम सेइंग इज कि इज इट पॉसिबल, एक मिनट, टेबल तो आ गया है, इज इट पॉसिबल फॉर वन ऑफ दीज टीम्स, क्योंकि क्या होता क्या है कि वेयर आई गेट वेरी डिसअपॉइंटेड इज कि एक वर्ल्ड कप हम लोग, मतलब वेयर अराउंड 65%, 67% भी नहीं हुआ है, 60% मार्क पे है जहाँ पे हमारा मैचेस हुआ है, और वहां पे हमें टॉप 4 ऑलमोस्ट दिख गया, मतलब यू फील अ बिट, एटलीस्ट कोई एक टीम के
Rajiv, top 4 we are predicting still. See, if Australia start
या
losing matches, you never know what's going to happen. Australia has got just 2 points more than Sri Lanka. Okay, they lose one game, Sri Lanka wins one game, they are on par, isn't it? And Pakistan will be on par. But we know when Australia are on a roll, they don't let it go. It will be like surprising if Australia start losing games and they end up. Only England might probably have play out of their skins one day. Maybe Josh Butler scores 100, or they can upset Australia. Probably that's one game I'm looking forward to. But for that, I don't see Australia losing any other game. England are the only team that can probably.
no, we'll come to that 4 ना, एक मिनट आप
Yeah,
आप
yeah.
आप इस पे आ जाइए। देखिए,
हाँ.
तो श्रीलंका, पाकिस्तान, अफगानिस्तान में आप कह रहे हो कि वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट श्रीलंका probably the only team which has a chance to go to 10 points and probably give a fight, but will come which, किसको फाइट देंगे, वो भी तो देखना है, फाइट किसी को तो देना पड़ेगा ना श्रीलंका को। तो ठीक है, मतलब पाकिस्तान तो देखिए बहुत ज्यादा नेगेटिव रन रेट है, एंड इफ यू लुक एट द फिक्सचर्स ऑफ व्हाट पाकिस्तान हैज टू प्ले, उनका स्केड्यूल मैं आपको दिखा रहा हूँ, ये देखिए यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हैं। अच्छा, ये तो पूरा ही आ रहा है, सॉरी। यहाँ पे देखिए आप आ रहा है, एक बांग्लादेश के साथ आ रहा है, आई एम एक्सपेक्टिंग देम टू विन ऑन 31st। न्यूजीलैंड वर्सेस पाकिस्तान इज इन बेंगलुरु। Now, what kind of pitch they'll get, I don't know, but they have lost a match in Bangalore against Australia. And then they have this England versus Pakistan. A last game can go anywhere. Because अगर अब एक मैच भी पाकिस्तान हारता है, assuming they lose to New Zealand, then that match there won't be any, मतलब कोई तुक ही नहीं रहेगा, मतलब कोई they may feel motivated, they may not feel motivated. It totally depends on the mental makeup. One of the things what Pakistan is going through is बहुत ज्यादा उनके पास इंजरीज है। आप अग्री करते हैं उनके पास इंजरीज का?
You see,
बहुत ज्यादा मतलब
no, no, obviously some things they are hiding. We don't know, but China are afraid. People say he looks injured. The
but
way
he
he's
bowled very
bowled
well.
on the way he is bowled on and off. Even the other day he took 5 wickets. So, see, some niggles he might be hiding for all you know. But that's how India and Australia, like India and Pakistan, used to play their cricket even in the 80s and 90s. Big players used to hide their niggles, and but they still used to perform. So that's how it used to be. So I don't see that much of a issue. The batting is in deep disarray. Like whenever they get a chance, they just don't capitalize on it. So that's where their issue is. But if you see, Sri Lanka and Pakistan both have had the edge over New Zealand in big games. It was like
Yeah.
India used to lose to New Zealand, but Sri Lanka and Pakistan always. If you see, look at the semi-finals, 92 semi-finals when Pakistan beat New Zealand. 99 semi-final, Pakistan beat New Zealand again. And then in the 2007 semi-final, 2011 World Cup semi-final, it was Sri Lanka who beat New Zealand. So I think they don't have a what do you call a negative record against New Zealand like India still has. Okay, so India has won probably like three World Cup games against 4 World Cup games, 3 of them in India and 1 in South Africa. And the only real big game which we won was the champions, what do you call, Benson Hedges, where Kapil Dev pulled us out of trouble. That was the only game India looked like losing, even in that series. So these are you have your bogey teams all the time. Like Germany has Italy as their bogey team in World Cups. So, but I think India, so that's where I think Pakistan can win all the 3 games. England are down in the dumps.
बट एक ही प्रॉब्लम है पाकिस्तान के साथ, वो -3.87 है आपका
Okay, see
नेक्स्ट बेस्ट वन.
So that's right now. If you win 3 games, of course your net run rate is going to improve. So they can get into the positive. So we can't see the current net run rate.
I agree sir, but एक चीज है, ये लोग जितने भी ऑस्ट्रेलिया, न्यूजीलैंड, इंडिया जितने भी हैं, they have all reached this either by chasing a total within 35 overs or winning by at least 150 runs or 200 runs. अब ये तीनों मैच मिला के 150 200 भी करेंगे मेरे को नहीं लगता, या विनिंग इट इन 35-40 ओवर्स, क्योंकि नहीं चल रहा है. मतलब लेट्स एक्सेप्ट इट, इनके बैट्समैन उतने रन्स लगा ही नहीं रहे, 50 ओवर्स नहीं खेल रहे, कितने बार तो बॉल आउट हो जा रहे हैं.
See, against Bangladesh, they'll have to probably field first, bowl Bangladesh out and chase it fast. Something like that they'll have to try. But I think Pakistan still has the ability to win the 3 games. New Zealand might suddenly, for you who had such a great start,
Yes.
you might suddenly find them in trouble because they haven't been winning big games. Of course, they beat England, and after that, I think they had a few easy games.
मैं वही बोल रहा था.
On the other hand, अगर आप देखोगे तो ऑस्ट्रेलिया ने 2 बड़े गेम हारे. हम बोल रहे थे कि ऑस्ट्रेलिया स्ट्रगल कर रहा है. They lost to India. And then they lost to South Africa, who are doing brilliantly. उसके बाद they have been winning. So I said that even before. Australia, I don't think Australia have lost 2 games. They are in deep trouble or anything like that. ये इनका 2 tough में game मिल गया, 2 हार गए. It's not that they, of course, against India they batted poorly, but ये होता है. So I still see. हाँ बोलो.
मुझे ये लगता है कि इनफैक्ट न्यूजीलैंड इज इन ट्रबल. ऑस्ट्रेलिया जो 2 मैचेस हारा है, दे लॉस्ट टू 1 and 2 ऑफ द टेबल टॉपर्स, एंड दे लुक्स लाइक इंडिया एंड साउथ अफ्रीका विल बी द टेबल टॉपर्स. 1-2 वही रहेगा, राइट? सो ऑस्ट्रेलिया इनफैक्ट हैज अ बेटर चांस. ये मैंने पुल किया है न्यूजीलैंड का टूर का. 4 मैचेस हैं, ऑस्ट्रेलिया के साथ 1, साउथ अफ्रीका के साथ 1, पाकिस्तान के साथ 1, श्रीलंका के साथ 1. सो द ओनली डिसेंट मैच दे हैव इज विद श्रीलंका ओनली, and that's why I say कि they can reach to 10 points. At 10 points, अगर ये तीनों में बहुत बड़ा हार नहीं होता, तो they may stick on to the 10 points and be at number 4, क्योंकि रन रेट काफी आगे है, काफी आगे है उनका. But they are in trouble.
No, they're not in trouble in the sense they lost to India. That's all. They've been winning. It all depends on how they play. They're not in trouble by any stretch of not like they're not in trouble by any stretch of imagination. If they play badly, they'll lose. But if they play well and they win, they win. That's all. So अभी तक तो उनका कुछ बुरा हुआ नहीं है. एक ही मैच हारे हैं, वो भारत से हारे हैं.
मुझे लगता है, मुझे पता नहीं क्यों लगता है कि ऑस्ट्रेलिया will go to number 3 and न्यूजीलैंड may come to 2, क्योंकि ऑस्ट्रेलिया का देखिए न्यूजीलैंड के साथ एक मैच है. कल का मैच we don't know which way it will go because it's in धर्मशाला, a kind of pitch which actually suits New Zealand. दिस दैट जैसे अभिजीत कहते हैं ना ड्यूनिडन टाइप पिच है और डे मैच है, तो किसी को कोई अनड्यू एडवांटेज नहीं मिला, दोनों टाइम एक ही टाइप का पिच होने वाला है। तो कहीं भी टॉस में भी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, मतलब आप बैटिंग फर्स्ट नाउ में बिकम वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट हियर। एंड देन इंग्लैंड वर्सेस ऑस्ट्रेलिया, आई एक्सपेक्ट ऑस्ट्रेलिया टू पुट थ्रू इंग्लैंड। ऑस्ट्रेलिया वर्सेस अफगानिस्तान, आई एक्सपेक्ट ऑस्ट्रेलिया टू गो थ्रू अफगानिस्तान। एंड देन ऑस्ट्रेलिया बांग्लादेश, इस पे भी ऑस्ट्रेलिया ही जाएगा। सो उनके पास एक ही मैच, सो 3 विन्स तो कंफर्म लग रहा है, तो 12 तक तो ऑस्ट्रेलिया जाएगा ही जाएगा। और अगर न्यूजीलैंड को भी कर दिया तो 14 चला जाएगा, तो मतलब दे आर इन रियल गियर। तो न्यूजीलैंड हैज टू विन 2 मैचेस टू फील कंफर्टेबल, बट दे मे स्टिल बी 4। एंड दैट कम्स टू द क्वेश्चन कि इंडिया में प्ले न्यूजीलैंड इन द सेमीफाइनल। So, Ker,
So,
it's. I think we can take.
नहीं, but technically speaking, even India are not through. Okay, अगर इंडिया अगर
Yeah,
सारे
yeah.
मैच हार जाता है, नेदरलैंड्स को हराता है, suppose India just beat Netherlands and just end up with 12 points, still India won't be through.
No, it would be
So
through.
वो एक चीज, not
नहीं, it would be.
100%. India,
नहीं, because
the
इनमें नहीं इसी नहीं ना, साउथ अफ्रीका, इंडिया, न्यूजीलैंड, ऑस्ट्रेलिया, the moment they get to the 12th point, they are going through, because Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Bangladesh, none of these teams can go to 12.
12 points. Okay, okay, fine, fair enough.
So they will only get to 10 only. So वहाँ पे बैंड बच जाती है. I think Sri Lanka can get to 12.
Sri Lanka
can get to
can get to 12,
12,
yeah.
and even
Afghanistan
अफगानिस्तान
can
ऑल्सो,
get to
लेकिन
12.
वो होगा नहीं, मुझे नहीं लगता वो होगा। खैर,
हाँ,
now I wanted to show, so now the last topic of the day I wanted to speak, and then we can generally speak on other topics, is that let me stop sharing it. Sorry. So one of the things is what happened to England. Why England is कल, मतलब इंग्लैंड अब तक बुरा ही खेलते हुए आ रहा है, लेकिन कल तो कहते हैं ना, वो हिंदी में वर्ड है ना, घोड़े खुल गए उनके, मतलब
see
श्रीलंका ने
these
बहुत
things
बुरी तरह
happen.
मारा।
No, कभी कभी ऐसा हो जाता है कि see, England are not an outstanding team. England is a good team. Okay, they have done well. They have reinvented themselves, and they were playing in some old-fashioned limited overs cricket till 2015. Though they, for example, 1992, they probably were the best team. I still believe 92 World Cup they played really well. That was one World Cup they almost dominated, I would say. Though New Zealand looked like the dominant force, but it was England which was winning both in Australian conditions and in New Zealand conditions. But after that, they somehow fell into this mold of playing different kind of cricket, not paying enough attention to ODI cricket. They didn't bother, even if they lost a ODI World Cup, they get knocked out, they didn't bother. They were more concerned about Test cricket. But after 2015, we know what happened. The main reason is they're really desperately missing Owen Morgan. We can't deny the fact that they are like missing Morgan big time. And the bowling is quite ordinary. I've always said that in subcontinental conditions, their bowling is pretty ordinary. They don't have any really world-class fast bowlers. Mark Wood is good, but he's pacey, but they don't have a Jimmy Anderson or a Stuart Broad. They've come with Chris Wokes, and Ben Stokes is not even bowling. Sam Curran. They're all pretty average bowlers. They probably look good in English conditions, but going around the world, they are nowhere close to any of our fast bowlers. All of them are probably Shardul Thakur level. None of them are even close to Shami or none of them are close to Shami or Jasprit Bumrah or Mohammad Siraj, who three are world-class fast bowlers. So, and Shami, I believe that he's one of the all-time greats if you see his career. Of course, Bumrah will get there, but Bumrah hasn't played enough Test cricket. So I feel that's where they're lacking. And batting, it goes on and off. For example, 92 World Cup, India had such a superb team with two all-time greats in Kapil Dev and Sachin Tendulkar. And they had good players like Ravi Shastri, Azharuddin. But still, we also that was probably one of India's worst World Cup performances. Just one win against Pakistan and one lucky win against Zimbabwe. Even Zimbabwe was chasing it down when rain came and India won because of the rain rule. We forget that one win, and we got 1 point where it got washed out against Sri Lanka. So I think probably England, they can look at it as one of those World Cups. Again, subcontinental conditions probably are not suiting their batsmen. But 150, whatever kind of score this, scored yesterday against Sri Lanka was more a mental thing. You can see that they're already mentally down. They're just waiting to go back home. They don't have that kind of a fighting spirit which probably Australia has. We have seen England over the years in football or cricket. They easily give up. They are not very, very resilient. If things are going well, they do well, but they are not those resilient team which can really fight back from nowhere and come and win a title. We've seen that they've done so poorly in ICC tournaments over the years. So that's probably one reason England have failed. Joe Root is not in his best of his form. Ben Stokes was sitting out. Butler, of course, sometimes he comes good, sometimes he doesn't come good. So I think that's where England are failing. But you never know. See, for example, the T20 World Cup that happened in UAE, India got thrown out so early. These things happen. 2007 World Cup, India had a great team. If you forget about what their ages were, if you just look at the team on paper, probably that was one of the greatest teams ever. 2007, with Ganguly also being there in the mix, isn't it? With Kumble also being there in the mix, but we got knocked out. So these things happen sometimes, except when it comes to Australia. No, Australia keeps defying the odds, and they're always in the mix. So when Australia loses, you don't see them like they're even if they lose a knockout game, a World Cup quarter semi-final, ऐसा लगता नहीं है कि यार बहुत बेचारे हैं, हार गए, दुख हो रहा है, ऐसा ना. This have a, for example, they got knocked out in the last I think World Cup in the semi-finals. We don't even remember Australia what they did in that World Cup. We talk about England versus New Zealand, we talk about India versus New Zealand, but Australia was there in the semi-finals. हमको याद भी नहीं है कि it was Australia who lost in the semi-finals. So they are the real danger team. But for that, I think
I agree. And also one thing, Australia, many of these players have played in our leagues and all. They have played test matches recently. They have played one days. सब खेला है. तो उनको ये conditions assess करने में शायद थोड़ा गलती हो गया. अब now धीरे-धीरे they are getting into this thing.
नहीं, गलती हो गया ऐसा भी नहीं बोलूंगा. They played against a very good Indian team, like who are doing really well, who bowled brilliantly, and against South Africa.
They played very poorly against South Africa. But what happened is even when they played against Sri Lanka also, they had the chances were not so great. But they just hung in and they got Sri Lanka for a very poor paltry score. And Sri Lanka ने वो first two matches जो एक पाकिस्तान और एक ऑस्ट्रेलिया के साथ, if they had got this combination correct ना, they would have won and definitely won against Pakistan. So and they would have really put themselves in reckoning for winning, getting a semi-final berth. But anyways, I mean, you abhi jo hai so hai.
And one more thing about Australian players, if they have if they are lucky, they make use of that luck. Like the kind of catch which was dropped off David Warner, he really made the opposition pay for it, isn't it? So ये हमेशा होता नहीं है. Lot of teams, like you see Rohit Sharma getting dropped and then he again gets out within no time, instead of making the opposition pay.
No,
so that kind of resilience is what India needs to really go all the way now. Can't take my mind off it. Like कुछ भी हो जाए तो बार दिमाग वहीं जाता है. तो
नहीं उस पे आएंगे यार. अभी उस पे इतना टेंशन लेने की जरूरत नहीं है. We'll see when it comes. मुझे ये लगता है कि I personally feel that India has a very good bowling attack. और इस अटैक के साथ हम we can really ensure. आज अगर इंडिया बॉलिंग करता था पाकिस्तान को इसी पिच पे शायद 240 ही देता था, 230 240 ही देता था. And then what happens is you kill the game in the first 25 overs. उसके बाद इधर उधर कुछ हुआ तो भी you are not in trouble. But anyways, I mean we'll see when it comes. इंग्लैंड का मुझे लगता है एक रीजन तो उसका जेसन रॉय को जबरदस्ती को they found a way to just take him off and get Harry Brook. So the fact is Jason Roy has played more matches. ODI cricket में आपको experience लगता है, and then it's not T20 cricket, it's a different type of cricket और वो नहीं लेके आए. दूसरा आपका ये Vokes and all cannot work. They need swinging conditions. इस condition में उनका bowling वो विली और इसको रख के क्या ही कर लेंगे, speed ही नहीं है उसमें. So they are always this. And Adil Rashid has just not been able to fire. I mean, he's a decent leg spin bowler, has decent experience, but in conditions where because he's not bowled, he's not been able to do when to bowl a flipper or what to do. I'll give an example. Today, Usama Mir got, उसका कंट्रोल नहीं है, लेग स्पिनर है बट उसका बॉल पे कंट्रोल नहीं है. बट देन द कपल ऑफ बॉल्स विच ही वाज लैंडिंग, 6 बॉल में से अगर एक बॉल भी सही हो रहा है तो इज रियली अ गुड बॉल, क्योंकि ये सब कंडीशंस उसको पता है. एंड व्हाट ही डिड, एंड दैट्स द रीजन व्हाई ही गॉट मार्करम, बिकॉज दैट वाज द रियल गुड बॉल. अगर वो फुल टॉस देता, मार्करम उसको 6 मार देता. तो मतलब आई एम जस्ट सेइंग कि अगर आपको कंडीशंस ना पता हो तो फिर आपको इट इज गोइंग टू रियली हैव अ प्रॉब्लम हियर. बट एनीवेज, आई मीन इंग्लैंड, ये होता है, हमने फुटबॉल में देखा है भास्कर कि टॉप टीम्स गेट नॉकड आउट वेरी इजीली. क्रिकेट में ही हमें लगता है कि क्यों नॉकआउट हो रहा है क्रिकेट. क्यों ना हो यार, होगा. मतलब you play very good cricket and then suddenly you'll have that slump and then you will be out, and then
See,
you play and develop it again. That's how it is,
see,
right? I mean,
cricket is a smaller base. No, we have just eight. Like usually we had it's been an 8 team sport, which only with 8 teams having a chance to win the World Cup, right?
yeah,
With West Indies being the 8th team, they are also not there. So we had 7 teams which have a chance. They play well to win the World Cup. You don't really see Afghanistan or Bangladesh or a Netherlands getting anywhere close to winning the World Cup. But we know the other 7 teams can win the World Cup if things fall into place. They might not be as good as they were a few years back, or like Sri Lanka, not the same Sri Lanka what we saw in 2011 that day. But you know that they have a team called the quality of players that they can go all the way if things fall into place. India is one of them. Pakistan, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa. So we know these are the 7 teams that have a chance to win the World Cup. So we don't really look beyond those teams. Football is not, that's not the situation. We know that there are only 4-5 teams that are usually winning the World Cup, but you know that there are a lot of teams which are very, very close by reaching the
yeah.
finals, like a Croatia reaching the finals, or a Turkey reaching the semi-finals. So those things
Or
don't
even
really happen in cricket.
Morocco reached
Yeah,
semi-final, huh?
yeah, yeah. So these things don't really happen in cricket that often. Kenya reaching the semi-final was a one-off, and that too because of other
Two
reasons.
teams did not play. They did not play. Yeah.
Yeah, it was some. England did not play in Zimbabwe, and New Zealand did not play in Kenya, isn't it?
नहीं, 2 टीम शायद नहीं खेला. Anyways, all I'm
हाँ,
saying is कि I'm saying कि
हाँ,
अगर एक बार हो भी गया, you get a, like India, you're right, first 2 matches में ही knockout हो गया था दुबई में. And then they played really some 3 good games also they played, but it was too late, right, to get that
हम्म,
batting combination correct. And then you had अभी जैसे England probably will not make it, मतलब outside chance बोलने के लिए बोल सकते हैं, but है नहीं कोई chance. तो इंग्लैंड भी चला जाएगा, but it's okay, you build a team and then you again come back to win or
yeah, but
whatever it is.
you see that they've got a few World Cup and a T20 World Cup, so I think they're quite happy in that way. Their team which
Yeah,
had won nothing, has got 3 ICC trophies now, two
correct,
T20 World Cups,
correct.
and one okay, two like I still struggled calling it a T20 World Cup because I was used to calling it a World T20. So they got two T20 World Cups and one ODI World Cup. So I think they're quite happy with what they've got now. So they,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Fair enough.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
and any win is a win only. So
yeah, so it's
you
New
just
Zealand
develop
and
for the
also
next.
it's New Zealand and South Africa who can really feel unhappy with what they have achieved in international cricket, isn't it? ODI cricket and ICC tournaments, because they have such a poor record in winning ICC tournaments. India is the only one which probably has run Australia very close. There was one point in time where India probably had more titles, including that one mentioned edges, more world titles than Australia. I think somewhere after the 2007 T20 World T20 victory, India had more titles than Australia, including that one. But after that, again, Australia won 2 more, and then one more, they won 4 more after that. So
Great. So we'll come to that semi-final part sometime later in our episodes. Now, last thing is this England versus India match.
Yeah.
So what are the
Before
changes
before that, we need to pay our regard and our
I wanted to do
condolences
that. Yeah, I
for
wanted to do
Bishan
that.
Singh Bedi. So that was something, a great loss for Indian cricket. He was probably one of the earliest world-class cricketers India produced. Of course, we had Vijay Hazare and Vinu Mankad, but among the real greats of the game, who are up there with the best of all times, That point in time, probably he was India's best spinner and
Yeah,
India's
he was
best bowler.
the
He
highest wicket
yet to
taker for a long time.
long time
Just
till Kapil Dev went past him in
yeah,
1987. And you know, his nephew is a very good friend of mine. So I think
yeah,
Bishan Singh Bedi is someone we need to remember.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and I think he's a very feisty character. निडर कहते हैं ना, मतलब he's a very courageous
mhm,
character.
yeah,
He's fought for his people,
yeah,
players. मतलब बोला है, उस जमाने में जब पैसा
yeah.
था ही नहीं तब भी
And
fought for their
and
rights and
he
all.
could win you games on placid wickets in overseas
Yeah,
conditions just by a flight, just by beating people in the. He never depended on the wicket. So that those kind of traits were rare. Probably I don't know with the new bats how his bowling would be, but that's all for
no, so he
we
would have
only
also adapted, na? He would have also
adapted.
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 Yeah,
See, if you see
everybody
Ravindra
adapts.
Jadeja's record is far superior to Bishan Singh Bedi. If you just look at the average, the strike rates, isn't it? So, but those days he was way ahead of his times. With India not being a great cricketing nation, with the spin quartet with Gavaskar coming in, that's when India started really winning Test matches, even in India, winning. So that's another thing.
Yeah.
So
So
what else?
I have just 1 minute. So you just have to say India versus England is coming. What are your expectations from India? What do you want India to do? I'm saying
I hope
I
some.
hope India bats first. That's the only
Yeah,
thing which I want.
that's one thing. I just hope India bats first and scores like a huge total. I want probably a Shubman Gill to get 100, a Shreyas Iyer to get 100. Uh, Hardik Pandya, if I don't know, he's not going to play, so maybe a
He's not
Sky
gonna
to
play.
get a 50, 60. Maybe Ishan Kishan plays. Let's wait. Let's see who plays. Technologically speaking, Ishan Kishan has been in such good form that probably he should be the one ahead of Sky in the playing 11.
No, but
But I
that's
don't
the
know
combination they want. So
combination they are looking at.
yeah.
So I also want to
Shami
see
is playing.
I
Shami is
also want to see
definitely playing.
probably Shreyas Iyer bowl an over or two, maybe Sky bowling an over or two. We need to get those things happening, because if we're going to play only 5 bowlers, if Hardik Pandya doesn't get fit, we're not going to play 6 bowlers. Let's forget about playing 6 bowlers. We're going to play
Yeah.
only 5 bowlers, and then we need to get a few overs in so that the captain has enough number of overs towards the end. So he probably needs to get in a couple of overs from Kohli, from Sky, from
Okay.
Shreyas
Okay. We're
Iyer.
done. We're done.
Okay.
ठीक
Okay.
है. Right. So
See
let's
you.
see. And good night. Thank you for what you
Yeah.
did today.
So we'll
Chala.
catch up after the India England game. Maybe on Monday we can catch up. Okay.
Yeah.
If
Monday we'll
possible.
have 6 games completed. Let's see where we are.
Fine.
Right.
Chalo. See you.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.